130 in Cinnaminson, by Liberty Toyota on Route 130 in Burlington, by Thomas Buick, Route 38 in Mount Holly, and the list goes on and on as the Silver Knights come onto the field. As they enter right there, they're big people. And of course, the Knights, as we talked about, have 11 people over 200 pounds.
To Delran's 3. So
Yeah.
that could be a factor. Now, a lot of them, I guess, don't play, but still they have enough. As I mentioned before, the offensive line averaging over 210 pounds. They have enough to make that size. A couple guys 200 pounds on the defensive line. So they got their guys spread out, and they're big guys too. So it should be a tough game for Delran to get a passing attack going. But if they can, I think it's going to be an easy afternoon for them.
Well, it might be pretty difficult for those big guys from Sterling to get into one of our other sponsors' cars, Cherry Hill Nissan, Route 38. Those Nissans just aren't big cars, you know what I mean? But they're sporty cars, good cars, and Bill Altamar down there at Route 38, Cherry Hill Nissan, has said what a terrific, terrific season this has been because he's seen some of the games. And the crowd now is starting to filter in here, and it is getting kind of packed here on this Delran side. You would anticipate that in a championship game with the Bears, because this community in itself, Steve, I know you're not from Delran itself, but I've lived and worked here, and I know how close that they are and how tightly knit this community is with their athletics, be it PAL, the soccer team here, the baseball team. They have all posted championships in Group 2, as you see the football team walking on here to enter Delran High School field.
You're going to hear a big cheer when they come out onto the field, which will be just minutes from now. We should mention a friendly little wager between the principals of these schools. Dave Landborn for Delran and the Sterling principal. They bet some donuts and cookies from the local famous bakeries in the areas, and much like the mayors of towns in the Super Bowl bet pretzels and hot dogs and stuff like that, they followed in the tradition and bet some cookies against donuts.
Another ironic twist to this game is David Lamborn was once working in Sterling as their principal. So there's a lot of fire going on right here because these two schools know each other a lot better than we know them. And here comes the Bears, and Mark Barnes, 56, will lead the charge. And the Bears all follow and growl. It's Group 2, final championship game of 1987, featuring the Silver Knights of Sterling against the Bears at Delran. That's next, right after these important messages.
Are you ready for the hot?
And while we have them, let's go through the referees. The referee today is Steve Egbert, the umpire Dick McLaughlin, the back judge Robert Mulhern, the line judge James Wakeman, the linesman John Beach, the clock operator Willard Bisbing. All these fine men in the black and white stripes know how important this game is here today. And there's a lot of pressure on these guys because, you know, they don't want to blow a call or anything. Could mean scholarships or anything else to these players. As Egbert is explaining the toss right now to Mark Barnes. And going through there, Sean Thompson, 43, and 32, Mark Summers.
Well, as tight and as controversial as that game was 2 weeks ago against Kingsway, the referees did an outstanding job that afternoon. And in those conditions, it was just an extraordinary job that they did. There were no real questionable calls that I recall that really had an impact on what happened in the game. So I expect no different or even better this afternoon. The conditions are not as bad, and the officials are picked from a pool of the best in the area. So we have the best and the brightest in the officiating crew this afternoon. So there should be no real mistakes.
You know, one thing I do want to let those people in Sterling know, because they may say, all right, Delran's 10-0, but who they play? We played schools bigger than us, under us, same level as us. I'll just let those folks know in Sterling that teams in the Liberty Division and the Freedom Division this year, when they played teams out of the county, were 12-6. So it tells you what kind of grade of football the brown and the white come from, as they will kick off here this afternoon to start this off. And it should be number 5, Merrick, doing the kicking for Jimmy Donahue's Bears as he tees it up at the 40. Back deep to receive is number 33 for for Sterling. That is Torsten Daniels, who has over 850 yards this year. So he'll be a very important cog for Jim Gallagher's squad. And Dennis Weaver, number 15, back deep to receive, as the Group 2 championship is about ready to kick off here from Delran High School, the first ever championship game from this field. And Merritten's kick is in the direction of Daniels, up through the end zone, and it will be a touchback. So the Bears will bring on the defense and the Knights, their offense, from their own 20.
Daniels tried to field that. It was a low-line drive kick. It just took a big hop right over his head, and Weaver had no chance to get it either. Rolled into the end zone. So Sterling will start from their own 20-yard line. Let's see who guides them to the helm to start this ball game.
All right, the Knights from their 20. All right, it's number 43, Sean Thompson, your quarterback, here to start off.
And already a flag
right away. And the Sterling crowd is clapping. Offsides against the Bears.
So already we have a 1st and 5 going on here for the Sterling Knights.
1st and 5, that ball at the 25-yard line.
Not a good start for the Bears. There's a lineup offsides on defense.
So Sean Thompson starts at the helm for Sterling. So it looks like they want to go to the running game early.
All right, they pose the wishbone, and it's the second back through.
Carried by number 31,
Paul Barton in on the carry, and Barton picks up maybe 2 yards to the 27-yard line. About second down and 3 for Silver Knights of Sterling.
Shuttleworth in on the stop for Delran. Call it a 2nd and 3. Just underway here in the first quarter of action.
This time from the I formation, it's number 33, Torsten Daniels. And Daniels is going to be close to the first down, and they have it.
I think they're going to have to measure for it because they're marking it right at the 30-yard line. Now they're going to roll just an automatic first down. He just had to get to the 30, and that's where the ball is marked exactly, so they didn't even measure. First down of the ball game.
So the Silver Knights move the chains another 10. And from the wishbone, it's Barton again, and this time they slam Barton down at the 33-yard line.
John Sacca playing on the line that time, was able to get a hand on him as he got a couple of yards, call it 2, 2nd and 8. And looks like Sterling going to the inside running game early, trying to maybe push back Delran a little bit, maybe wear them a little thin.
You know, we talked about the Knights having all that playoff experience. You could throw it out the window because it's been 10 years since they've been in, and none of these players were in high school 10 years ago. So Thompson and the Silver Knights want to get something going here early, and it's Daniels trying to find the outside, and he is brought down. It looked by Tony Sacca, number 19, on the tackle.
Sacca wants that football in his hands to control the offense, helping a little bit out on defense that time. They're going to give him progress back to the line of scrimmage, maybe even give him a yard.
So they're looking at 3rd and long here, and now Delran's secondary might be tested because Thompson might put it up.
Should be a passing down here, but you never know. They may want to keep it on the ground.
On the 3rd and long, Barton comes back on a counter play, and the defense is there at the 36-yard line. So the Silver Knights did a little jabbing in that series to find out how the defense of Delran was going to align, and now they'll be forced to punt on 4th and 5.
It did look like that series was a little bit of a feeling out period for the Silver Knights, as they just ran the ball up the gut every play, just using a bit different motion and a bit different back each time. So I think they just wanted to feel out the Delran defense that time.
All right, the punters, number 51, Sheldon Stewart. And he gets off a bad punt because of a bad snap, and it'll fall, and Delran, I think, lost it. Yes, they had it and then lost it on a fumble, and the Sterling Knights will have it 1st and 10 from the 25.
It looked like Steve Corello, from our vantage point anyway, was the one who touched it for Delran. Now they're giving it back to Delran. Now here's what happened, Gene. The snap was low. It went through the punter's hands. The punter wisely just tried to get off any kind of kick he could. As you saw, it went about 5 yards. Corello watched it bounce, then decided to try and pick it up. Not a wise move because Delran's going to get great field position no matter where it is. He touched it. It looked as if Sterling had fallen on the ball, but they're giving possession to Delran. Why, I don't know, because it did look like Grello had touched it, and then it's a free ball.
Well, Saka is on there anyway. Good field position at the 25-yard line of Sterling. 1st and 10 for the Bears, and Grello goes in motion. And Saka looks to throw it. He has Ellison. Ellison. And a flag is down at the 15-yard line, and Ellison is pumped out of bounds at about the 16-yard line.
Flag thrown in the secondary. Why Delran got the ball is because Sterling did recover the fumble. However, on 4th and long, they had not nearly enough yardage for the first down.
Second down and 3.
All right, so Saka, flag, I guess, was an inerrant flag that fell. They're going to mark it down at the 17-yard line, and the Bears are looking at a 2nd and 3.
Yeah, Delran really took over on downs instead of the punt that series.
Saka sets him down. And the handoff to Grello, and Grello hits that line and picked up about a yard or two.
Tell you the composure of Tony Sakagine, right after he handed that ball off and watched Grello just go into the line, he immediately turned to the sideline to get the sign for the next play. Figured, all right, coach, that one didn't work. What do we do on 3rd down now?
And the Bears now faced with a 3rd down and a long 2 as they have to come across the 15-yard line. And they send Ellison and Verratti split out wide to Saka's right from the I formation. They hand the ball off to Todd Ogan. And Ogan got to the 15. I don't think he has the first down, though.
He's about a yard and a half shy. And now a big decision for Jimmy Donahue to see whether he wants to try and kick the field goal or go for it.
4th and 1.
All right, so Donahue, and I'm sure he'll go for it here because he wants that momentum. And a 4th down converted to a 1st down will always give you that.
That's about a 28-yard kick from where he sits right now. If he doesn't make the first down, Sterling's got the ball on their own 11-yard line, so you might as well go for it.
On 4th and 1 from the I formation, Saka with it. He has the first down, turns it upfield, touchdown! Saka on a rollout, takes it up 15 yards for the touchdown.
Tony Saka is 6'5", 200 pounds. You could see the secondary of Sterling try and get him down. Keith Henson leading the way. Keith Henson's only 5'5", 130 pounds. He tried to get Tony Saka down. There's just no way it's going to happen. By the time he was able to catch up to him and bring him down, Saka was 5 yards into the end zone.
All right, the extra point here, attempted by the Bears. It'll be Mike Merritt, number 5. The snap is good. The kick is up, and the kick is no good. It's off to the right. So with 7:04 remaining here in quarter number 1, your score in the championship game between Sterling and Delran are the Bears 6, Sterling nothing. He really doesn't need it.
He probably kicked this one into the end zone or very close to it.
All right, here's a line drive in the direction of Dennis Weaver. He's at his 5 and has a wedge in front of him and falls forward to the 25-yard line. So Sterling will take it 1st and 10 from their own 25.
He did have a wedge, Gene, but what happened is the blockers were moving so slowly, he really couldn't get revved up to get through that pile. He was about a yard behind him, which was too close to the line of blockers, and the blockers were just moving so slowly because they're a lot bigger. And he really couldn't break through there like he wanted to.
And Jimmy Donahue talking to Mike Merritt right now as kicker. And the Silver Knights back on offense, trailing by 6. And Thompson to the second back, Summers, and picks up maybe, Megan Daniels picks up maybe 2 or 3 yards.
Sterling's still going to that running game up the middle, waiting for it to start to work. And as you said, they're a ball control type of team, especially with Thompson in there. So they're really down by a touchdown. They don't want to send all caution to the wind yet. It's too early.
All right, let's stay with the game. And Summers and Daniels, 2 men in the backfield. And it's the first man, Summers, cracks across the 30-yard line to about the 34-yard line. Let's give him a pickup of about 6.
Barnes in on the tackle, 3rd and 2. That was a nice play by Sterling. Little counter play, and really kind of tricked up the defensive line of Delran for an instant. That's all they needed to get through the
We got
initial line.
officials timeout right now on the field. The Knights are looking at a 3rd down and 2.
Official time on the field.
And now they're going back to huddle about it.
And they're talking it over with John Ellison. They're talking to him about something.
All right,
He
so
may
clock
have,
will start
he may have
back
appeared
up.
a little injured or something on the last play, and they wanted to make sure he was okay to play.
And here's another counter play, and Sterling has the 1st down as they cross the 35 to the 37.
32, Mark Summers. That will be
So
a
the first down for Sterling, and the running
game
game seems to be working a bit right now as they kind of know the blocking scheme of the Bears and can.
As you see the partisan Sterling crowd there in their band right now, trying to get their team going. You know, huge crowd is here today at Delran on both sides, and people still getting tickets. As Mark Summers is dropped for a loss.
They tried to fool up the Delran defense that time, and Sterling, as instead of going up the gut, they tried to go around the right end on what appeared to be a handoff up the middle, but Moore was there to say, no way, I ain't falling for that. Gain of 1, call it 2nd and 9 for Sterling at about the 37-yard line.
All right, check that. It was Daniels with the carry. We're going to have trouble with this all game long because Daniels is 33 and Summers is 32, and the jerseys look so much alike.
Now again they're stopping play, and again they're talking to Ellison. He may be hurt, or his equipment may be
At any rate,
not
Steve
correct.
Egbert right there, the referee, talking to Jimmy Donahue, and here comes Ellison on the sideline.
I think it's something to do with his knee pad or his thigh pad, because that's what they're adjusting right now. I think it was misplaced.
All right, now
now-
Ellison back on. It's 2nd down and 9.
Silver Knights, 2nd and 12.
The officials making sure everything is up to regulation here before they start the play.
So we see the Delran secondary, John Sack at 15, McDonald number 54, and Barnes 56 gets set for the 2nd and 9. Thompson to Daniels, and Daniels right to the line of scrimmage and not much more.
That's about it. That's been the story all afternoon pretty much for Sterling. He's had a couple of good runs up the middle, 3 or 4 yards, but that's about it. That time they were stopped again. Barnes leading the way. The whole defensive line doing a fine job for the Bears so far this afternoon.
All right, now the Knights and Sean Thompson, number 43, are faced with a 3rd down and a long 7. They have to bring the football up to the 47-yard line. 3rd and 7. And we have 32 in motion at Summers. And I believe somebody in the line jumped also. And it's going to go against the Knights, I believe.
Yeah, the motion was fine. It was when Summers went in motion,
No.
it's going to go against Delran. I thought the motion was okay. So when he went in motion, somebody on the Bears defensive line thought that was the start of the play and jumped. One of the linebackers, probably keying on Summers, saw him move and figured that was the start of the play because it was a late motion. Usually, if the player is going to go in motion, he would have gone in motion by then.
All right,
Now
we have
again, the
another
referee
timeout
stopped play.
right now, and they'll start it back up. The Silver Knights are still faced with a 3rd down and about 3 from their own 45-yard line. Thompson, Summers, and he's going to be close, and he may have the 1st down.
Looks like he has it from here. Verratti in on the stop for Delran. Fans getting a little upset with the referees, but much to their credit, they're making sure everything is up to stats, up to league specs before they start each and every play. The ball is spotted correctly, every player is where they're supposed to be, and all the equipment is where it's supposed to be. They don't want anybody to get hurt.
All right, they'll stretch the chains, and they'll say 1st down, Silver Knights. So Sterling has picked up 3 first downs here in this first quarter. And they're doing the things they really want outside of allowing Saka that rollout for 6.
Well, that was really a mistake because of the bad snap, and Delran only had 25 yards to go on the whole play, on the whole drive. There's 3 minutes left. Sterling taking a lot of time like they like to.
Here's Thompson on the ground to Summers. And Summers picks up 2 to the
Carry number
49.
32, Mark Summers.
A lot of jostling going on in there. I think the ball might be loose, but they're going to roll. He was down before fumbling the football.
2nd and 8.
Shuttleworth in on the stop again for Delran.
This Sterling team has 18 seniors on it, 12 juniors, 9 sophomore, and 2 freshmen on it. And they're starting to move the football here. 2nd and 8 from the 49. And it's a counter play. The Bears were not sucked into that.
It's the second time they tried that counter from the right to the left. And again, Barnes was not fooled on it. He led the way. It stood the old offensive line for Delran. McDonald, Barnes, Ogan, you name them, they're in there.
All right, Frank Paris giving the signals to Mark Barnes, number 56, on his 3rd down at a long 8 with 1:56 on the clock here in the first quarter. It's 6-0 favor of Delran. Here it is to Barton on that counter play. Barton fails the pursuit, and Delran is there. Number 9, John Ellison with the first hit, and Mark Barnes was there right behind him.
That play was a little slow in developing for the Knights. What they did is they pitched it to the left, their first pitch of the afternoon, and by the time he was able to turn the corner, Ellison had already come up from his safety position to make the stop. So that was a bit slow in developing, getting the running back around the corner, which was Barton.
All right, Paul Sims, who had a bad snap the last time, will punt it away. Verratti and Ellison standing back at their own 20, and Sterling does not have the right personnel on the field, so they call a timeout with 1:11, a picket fence to go here in quarter number 1. It's Delran 6, Sterling nothing. We'll be right back.
He's on there. Who they want to be on there.
Ellison fields it at the 23, trying to find some room on the outside, and is hammered down at the 25-yard line by number, looked like 95, Greg Kelly, in on the tackle.
Good special teams coverage by Sterling that time, because Ellison, what he tried to do was go away from the most coverage and try to find a hole on the outside, but Sterling did a good job of getting their whole line down there, not concentrating on one corner of the field and allowing Ellison to break around the corner.
All right, so the Bears now from their own 25, 1st and 10, with 49 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Saka has Verratti to the right, Ellison to the left, and sends Verratti now in motion. Looks that way, has his man at the 30. Verratti is brought down at the 32 by Sean Thompson and by number 12, Stacy Hightower.
Stacy Hightower and Thompson not falling for any of Verratti's moves. They'll give Saka that play all day. It was they're calling it a 6-yard gain. It looked a little bit shorter than that because it was only about a 3-yard pass. But they're going to give Saka that kind of pass all day because they just don't want to get burned deep. Now, what they did well that time, Thompson and Hightower, didn't fall for any moves. They just went right at him.
All right, so the Bears now looking at a 2nd down and 4 from their 31-yard line. And the handoff to Todd Ogan. And Ogan picks up maybe a yard.
Tackles
And
down
we are at 000 on the scoreboard clock. And quarter number 1 is history. Put it in the books. The Bears are up after 1 on the score 6-0. We'll be back with the second quarter right after this. Having 18 seniors on their team, so they're going to be losing all these players after today. The Bears have 12 seniors, 18 juniors, and 18 sophomores, so this is a team for the future also. And Sacco on 3rd and 2.
See if he
From
puts
his
it
own
up.
33, sends Verratti in motion again. Drops, looks, feels the pressure, rolls out, has plenty of room, has the first down, and is dropped at about the 39-yard line.
That's why Saka, another reason anyway, why Saka is so dangerous, because he can run that ball. E.J. Huskin in on the stop for Sterling, but he can run that ball just as well as any running back can. And he sees an opening, he takes it. And not only have to worry about the receivers, Ellison and Verratti, in the secondary, the linebackers also have to worry about Saka running that football. So that makes it doubly important that not only does the defensive line, for Sterling have to get pressure on Saka, they have to close off the running lanes too.
All right, 1st and 10 for the Bears. They're going to spot it at the 39-yard line. From the I formation, Saka looks.
That pass complete to number 23, Tommy Verratti.
And Verratti is slammed down after a gain of about 4.
Another nice play by Sean Thompson on the defensive side of the football. Because that time Verratti had a little bit of opening, but Thompson was able to get an arm on him and trip him up so the rest of his team could get there. Mark Summers in on the stop as well, but a nice play. Sterling really not falling for those screen passes. They're holding Delran to just short yardage on those plays.
All right, it took the Bears to the second quarter to get their first down, but they have 6. They are up 6-0 here in the second quarter. The Knights trying to hold it down here and get that football back. Verratti again in motion. Saka looks, has time, hums it downfield, and has John Ellison at about the 42-yard line of Sterling for a first down.
DJ Hushkin had good coverage on that play, Gene, and it wasn't that great a throw from Saka. It was a little bit behind Ellison, but as we said in the open, all you have to do is get it near John Ellison. He's going to come down with it. He did that time in a first down. It's the first long pass we've seen from Saka today, and it's complete.
It's a 16-yard completion to John Ellison. And the Bears now in Silver Knight territory again at the 42. Verratti shifts in motion. Saka drops, has time, feels the pressure, scrambles out. He's at the 35. He's at the 30. And inside the 29-yard line. And Saka is going to be close to another first down. Let's see where they mark it.
Kevin Fayette was able to knock him down, and after he knocked him down, Saka able to gain about 3 yards. They are going to give Delran a first down. And again, Saka dangerous because even when you have pressure on him, you cover all his receivers, he's just going to run the football. And as you saw the speed, he got around the corner and got another 5 yards out of it.
All right, they're going to spot it at the 30-yard line, but it's a first down for the Bears at the Silver Knight 30. And Saka barking the signals. The handoff to Verratti, who's in the backfield. Verratti picks up a yard before he's met by number 79. That's Brian Sparcino. Sparcino, a big player for them, along with Chris Revilla as number 76.
Sparcino goes 6 foot, 200 pounds even on that line there, and he wasn't full. The Delran running game really not that effective today, but it doesn't really matter because the passing game is what's important. They're just using that running game to keep the Sterling defense honest. What Sterling's going to have to do now is bring some of their cornerbacks to see how deep they are. They're going to have to bring some of them up to get rid of the running game of Saka.
All right, Saka on 2nd and 9, firing downfield. Has Ellison for a first down inside the 20 to about the 18-yard line.
And Ellison just put a move on Thompson. Thompson really beat that time. Looked like he was going to turn upfield. Instead, made a 360 and went to the sideline. Thompson really couldn't stick with him that tightly. Was able to make the tackle after the catch, but still a nice pass leading Ellison, and Ellison with the reception. Another first down at the 18. Now Delran doing what they like to do, changing it up, passing, running, but mostly passing.
There's the line of scrimmage at the 18-yard line. The Bears on the move as they picked up 4 first downs on this drive. And Todd Ogan picks up about a yard here.
And again, just running the ball up the gut so that Sterling can't concentrate on the passing game. So they're switching it off and on. A good game plan by Jimmy Donahue this drive.
All right, they're putting it together right now. They're at the 17-yard line. And the Silver Knights, that defense that has been playing well all year for Jim Gallagher, must come to the top right here, or they'll be down by 2. Saka sends Verratti behind him to his left and looks that way to throw. He's got it over the middle, almost intercepted by number 5, Keith Henson. And Henson, that deep safety, almost had himself a pigskin.
Saka overthrew his receiver in there. Looked like he was trying to go to Verratti, and he overthrew him. Henson had the ball in his arms and dropped it. He's going to be thinking about that one this evening should Sterling lose this ball game. Really the first bad throw we've seen from Saka today.
The first incomplete. for Saka. He's 5 out of 6 in this first half.
Now it's 3rd and 18, obvious passing down, so now Sterling can concentrate on those receivers. But they also have to contain Saka.
Saka's had some big runs so far in this first half, and he drops.
In this first half.
All right, and now the Silver Knights, with their backs up against the wall a little bit on offense, they have to move this football. And it's Don Hall, number 13, is your quarterback. And his first play is a handoff to Daniels, number 33, who picks up about 5.
So
So they're going to Hall now because they need some points in a hurry. They only have 7 minutes left in this half. They want to get at least something on the scoreboard before halftime.
But we have Don Hall in there, the 6'1", 160-pound junior. Hall to Sean Thompson, and Thompson barrels forward to about the 40-yard line.
Karate on the stop, and it'll be 3rd and call it 2. Right at the 40-yard line of Delran.
The ball marked at the 40-yard line of the Bears.
Now with Hall in there, Delran's got to watch out for the pass, so the running game's going to be a bit more effective than it was.
All right, here we are on 3rd and 1 from the 40-yard line, and this time, number 32 has the first down. That's Mark Summers.
Summers carried a couple of Delran defenders for a couple of yards, Karate among them, and picked up the first down. Sterling trying to quiet this crowd just a little bit, who got very excited after that last Delran score. Now coming with a little drive of their own, some ball control, and quieting this crowd just a little bit.
6 minutes exactly on the clock here in the second quarter. And Silver Knights, that's only picked up about a yard.
Thompson got a little crossed up on the handoff exchange with Hall, and he really did all he could do just to hold on to the football and not fumble it. He gained a yard in the process, but really he was just trying the entire time to get control of that ball. They don't want a turnover down here when they're in Delran territory with a good chance to score.
They are at the Delran 33-yard line. The Silver Knights trying to mount a drive to cut this deficit. Here's Connors, or Summers makes it. Summers comes across the 25 to the, let's see where they mark him, across the 30 to about the 29-yard line.
And Gene, these are the same plays that Sterling was running in the first quarter. What have they done? Why are they having success with it now than they were in the first quarter?
I don't know. I think maybe that offensive line is doing a little track blocking inside on that defense, which is causing that. And here's Hall. This time it does not work. The Silver Knights will be looking at 4th down. You can bet they'll go for it.
They certainly will. They have about 4 yards to go, and they're in Delran territory, so they're not going to make a field goal from this distance, and the punt really does them no good either because it's going to go out of the end zone, so they might as well go for it here. See if Hall puts it in the air for the first time.
All right, Hall on the 4th down and 4 with 4:29 on the clock here in the first half. Hall hands it off. It's Summers' first down, Silver Knights.
I tell you, I think the Bears thought he was going to the air too because that was a pretty big hole opened up by the offensive line of Sterling. And Gene, as you said, the only thing I can attribute the recent success of the running game is to either the trap blocking or just the fired up offensive line that are really. We have a little timeout here as the clock has become inoperable.
All right, I think we have a problem with the clock here at the stadium. It's 12-0 favor of Delran. We'll have more of the championship game of the Group 2 right after this. And the Silver Knights right now, Steve, really doing a good job on offense since Don Hall has come in the quarterback.
It's probably a combination of things. Delran has to watch out for the pass with Hall in there. And also the offensive line of Sterling, as we said before, a little bit more motivated now, a little bit more fired up. They're really firing off the line of scrimmage.
All right, number 34, that's E.J. Huskin. And Huskin gets about 2 yards. Boy, one thing that they have shown us is a ton of running backs here in this one.
Yeah, he's using a whole lot, and we expected that, really. Quite a number of players carry the ball for Sterling and Sean Thompson, not the least of it.
Second down and about 7.
All right, it'll be second down and 7 for the Knights. And Houston again with it, and Houston comes up to about the 15-yard line for a pickup of 2.
We have the Delran cheerleader right in front here, leading the crowd into a chant of "We are Delran." Trying to fire this defense up just a little bit. 3rd and 6 for Sterling. Let's see if they finally put the ball up. We have yet to see a pass from the Sterling offense.
All right, here we go. 3rd and 6. They line up the pros set. And it's the first back, Summers. Summers still on his feet, and he's going to be close to a first down and might have it.
Going to be very close. Barnes in on the stop along with a couple others. They're going to give him a first down without even measuring it. Hard to tell from our angle just where he was brought down. But they give him the first down, and it looks like the ball spotted at the 9-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal for Sterling.
All right, the Silver Knights are threatening here with 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock in the first half, and Sean Thompson is brought down before he gets to the 5. Give him a pickup of 3.
2nd and goal from the 6.
All right, so it's goal from the 6.
For the Silver Knights, that'll be second down and about 7.
You know, that trap blocking that the offensive line is doing right now is really paying dividends. They're moving it down the field very impressively. Hall, first back this time.
Number 33,
It's number 33, Torsten Daniels, picks up about a yard.
Daniels really just kind of diving, looking for a couple of yards in that play. Got across the 5. Be 3rd and goal. Mark it at the 5-yard line exactly. Be interesting to see what play is called right here for Sterling.
All right, remember Sterling has called one timeout here in this first half. They did that in the first quarter. And we're down to 1:24 on this 3rd and goal from the 5. And now a whistle, and Sterling uses their second timeout of the half. So with 1:20 to go here in the first half, your score, Bears 12, Sterling nothing. We'll be right back. With 1:20 to go here in the first half, it's 12-0 favor of Delran. But the Silver Knights are knocking on the door at the 5-yard line on a 3rd and goal.
3rd and goal. Let's see what they do. They have 3 running backs in the backfield.
All right, they're going with a wishbone. And it's Sean Thompson, 43. He twists and turns, and let's see where they spot him. At about the 1-yard line. So we're looking at 4th down.
4th and goal from the 1. What a key play call. And final timeout called by Sterling wisely. As they have a 4th and goal from the 1. They call their last timeout of the half with a minute 4 left.
All right, so with that timeout, we'll return with the final minute 4 seconds of this first half after these commercial messages. 12-0 favor of the Bears on a 4th down.
Halftime when you get a chance.
4th and goal from the 1-yard line. Thompson does not get in unless they give him the progress on the 2nd down. They did not get in. The Bears are fouled. They made the goal line stand.
You think the clock just ran out here. This place is going bananas. What a defensive surge by the Bears defensive line on that play. Thompson tried it once, didn't get it, spun off the initial hit and tried to get through and still couldn't. What a defensive hold by Delran, and they are fired up right now.
That's the kind of thing that champion teams are made out of. The guts of the defense have stopped the Silver Knights on the goal line. And with 39 seconds, and she's counted down, you know, Saka...
We have a car that must be moved.
Delran called the timeout, Gene. I'm real curious as to why. With 37 seconds, Sterling can't stop the clock. They're on their own 1-yard line. You can only root for trouble right there. Stopping the clock on your own 1-yard line, have to question that call.
Well, maybe he did not want to take the delay of game penalty to move it back to the half-yard line or half the distance to go, and he just said we better get things together here right now and calls timeout. So with 37 seconds to go. You know, this will give us a good opportunity to tell you about the other games that are going on in the other groups. So as we look at the Group 4, which features Washington Township, who's 9-1, at Toms River South, who's undefeated at 10-0. Rancocas Valley, and what a job Bruce Lazarick has done there with that team. Just a couple years ago, they were 0-9. They're 8-2 and in the finals in the Group 3 this year against Point Pleasant Borough. And the Group 1 features Paulsboro and Glassboro. Parochial A has Notre Dame and Holy Spirit. And here's Delran on offense from their own 1-yard line. And they go straight forward to Saka to get out to about the 3, give them a pick up a 2.
Well, that's all I wanted to do is get a yard or two on the play and run out the clock as we're down to 25. That'll probably be the last play of this half. Been a brilliant half for the Delran Bears. Tony Saka leading the way offensively and the defensive line with a great stand just a moment ago down on the 1-yard line. They may have to run one more play. As now we're down to 5. They won't have to. They have enough time to run it out.
All right, the first half is history here from Delran High School. The Bears can go into the locker room cheering. They're up by the lead of 12-0. We'll have more of our halftime festivities from Delran High School after these commercial messages.
Leading them to 2 scores, really doing it all, and pretty much himself got a little help from Ellison. But Saka really the story offensively and defensively. As you mentioned, a great half for Delran. They stopped Sterling on 4th and goal from the 1 shortly before the end of the half, and that was a big momentum booster for the Bears. And what could have been a big morale booster for Sterling, they stopped them and got the momentum on their side.
All right, a first half that encompassed something of a surprise. When you look at Tony Saka, you think arm, but he showed us some leg in that first half. The tune of 5 carries, 46 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So Saka doing it all for the Bears here in this championship game. You know, it's funny because cream always rises to the top. And I think Mr. Saka showed in the first half that he's just about there.
Everybody's worried about Saka's arm. Well, you also have to worry about his leg because, as he showed us, he's a great scrambler and can run with that football. That makes him doubly dangerous, and he's very tough to defend against because you think you get pressure on him, he's not going to be able to throw. As soon as you get some pressure on him, he just runs away from you.
The Sterling Knights in that first half had 74 yards rushing. Let's break it down for you. Torsten Daniels had 7 carries for 12 yards. Mark Summers, a workhorse there with 9 carries and 36 yards. Paul Barton had 5 carries for 10 yards. E.J. Uskin had 2 for 5. And Sean Thompson, who was your quarterback for most of that first half, ended up with 5 carries for 11 yards. So there's the 74 yards in offense for Sterling. Steve Grello had 1 carry for 1 yard, Delran. Todd Ogan had 3 for 3, and Tom Barati had 1 for 1. So the rushing stats are very, very pitiful looking in that first half. To go along with that, Sterling has not attempted a pass in this one, so no passing yardage for the Silver Knights. But Saka was 6 out of 8 for 52 yards in that first half, and his first 5 were completions.
They were, and most of them were short passes. 1 long pass to Ellison over the middle. That's about it. He's going with high percentage passes. No real chance of being intercepted for a long run back. So 1 bad throw from Saka was over the hands of the receiver and almost intercepted. But besides that, he's been perfect.
All right, the Silver Knights had 6 first downs in that first half. Again, Steve, they're controlling the ball on the ground. So they've got those 6 first downs via the rushing stats. They have 74. They're kind of doing the things that they wanted to do. If they would have punched it in there right at the close of the half, Jim Gallagher would have gone in there and said, hey, buddy, we got a moral victory going on, guys. We're only down by either 6 or 5, depending on what the situation would have been after the touchdown. And, you know, coming in here, facing the home crowd of Delran, where the rafters are absolutely packed, and the whole momentum factor they would have quieted them down going into the second half, but that defense held.
We saw towards the end of the half, Gene, the kind of football Sterling likes to play. Ball control offense, moving downfield, taking a lot of time off the clock doing it. They were able to do that, but just got stopped short of the goal line. That in itself, I think, is going to be a morale booster for the Sterling offense because the first quarter of play, they weren't able to move at all. So the last quarter, no, they didn't score, but they were able to move that ball some 50 yards downfield in a succession in about 3.5 minutes. So that is going to be a morale booster for them. They can finally say, hey, we can move the ball against this defense. Let's just go ahead next time, punch it in.
All right, the Bears had 5 first downs in that first half. The punting, Sterling had a bad snap on their opening punt of the game, which set up the first score for Tony Saka. And Mr. Sims hit another one for 26 yards later on in the half. Penalties, the Silver Knights had 1 penalty for 5 yards, and Delran had 2 penalties for a total of 10 yards in that first half. The scoring by quarters again. At the end of one, it was 6-0 Delran, and here at halftime, it is 12-0 Delran. And Steve, what do you look forward to in that second half? A little more Don Hall?
Yeah, a lot more Don Hall, in fact, because Sterling is down 12 points, and I think they're going to come out with their regular running game to begin with to see if that's effective once more. But if it's not, they're not going to waste any time, and Hall is going to put the ball in the air. For Delran, we're going to see very much the same as we did. We're going to see him mix it up a whole lot, not let Sterling know what they're going to do next, whether they're going to pass or throw. Run the ball to keep the defense honest, but let Saka do his job.
Well, Tony Saka and the Bears are but 24 minutes away from the championship trophy in the hallway in Delran High School. We'll see if they can take it home with them here this afternoon as the second half is about ready to begin between the Sterling Silver Knights and the Delran Bears. That's next, right after these important messages. Prince along with Steve Salkin. Steve, second half football just moments away here as the Bears come on, and now the Silver Knights make their trek across Delran's parking lot and down into the pit here at Delran High School.
24 minutes of football. One of these teams is going to have a state championship crown, as you said, in their trophy case in the hallway in school. And right now it looks like Delran is leading the way to having that trophy in their schools. 12-0 at the half. And as we said it before we left for the first half, I think we're going to see a lot more of Dan Hall putting the ball up for Sterling.
And there's the man, Frank Harris, the addition that we talked about in the pregame show that added that extra dimension to this program of defense. And that defense, which is allowed to sweep with 9 points a game this year and has not allowed a point in this ball game. That was the key play in that first half, without a doubt, was that 4th goal from the one that Hall and the Silver Knights had, and he was held.
See if the playoff experience of the Sterling coaching staff pays dividends at halftime, as they certainly knew more than Jim Donahue knew what to say to the team at halftime.
All right, Mike Merritt will do the kicking for Delran. Back deep is Dennis Weaver and Torsten Daniels.
Kicking off for the Bears will be
Silver
number
Knights and
5,
Jim Gallagher right
Gordon.
there want this first possession badly and get it into the end zone as quickly as possible. Aaron's kick is a high kick in the direction of Weaver at the 14. And Weaver still with it. Bone is blocked, comes up across the 30 to the 33-yard line. So that is where the Silver Knights will take it 1st and 10.
Scott Smith on stop for Delran. Good special teams. Again, the wedge was set up, but again, he was too close to the blockers, and Smith was able to come around from the outside and get a hold of Daniels.
All right, the crowd filtering back to the action here. And it's Hall, number 13 at quarterback. Here's Sean Thompson, and Thompson is hit behind the line. Looked like Steve Grillo, number 34, was the man with the initial hit.
It was Steve Grillo. He got inside the backfield of Sterling and said, no way, you're not going anywhere. We're stopping you right here. So it was Thompson who had led the Sterling offense early, trying to do the same on the ground, couldn't. He lost 4 yards. Call it 2nd and 14.
All right, 2nd and 15. That was not what Jim Gallagher wanted us the first play in the second half. And here's the first back through. Maven Daniels, number 33. We'll see when they unravel the pile. It's 32, Mark Summers.
He may have gotten a yard. Give him 2, call it 3rd and 12. And now we're going to see Hall put the ball up, I would assume, for the first time this afternoon.
Yeah, it was number 12, Stacy Hightower, splits out wide to the right. He sends Thompson, who has the football, and Thompson gets about a yard. The ball's on the ground, and Delran has the football.
Not a smart play by Gallagher going to the run on 3rd and long. The ball was covered by McDonald for Delran, 5'9", 160-pound junior defensive lineman. He was able to grab onto it, and Delran will take over at the 30-yard line of Sterling. And again, not a good play call, in my opinion, by Gallagher. 3rd and 12. You're not going to get 12 yards on the ground.
I'll tell you, that is some first series for the Delran defense. And now the Bears and John Ellison go in motion here to the right from the I formation. Saka looks, pumps once, got his man, and Ellison is in traffic and it's incomplete. He looks around for pass interference, but Stacy Hightower, number 12, was stride for stride with John Ellison.
If there's going to be any interference, it's going to be on Ellison. Ellison was the one that ran up the back of Hightower, so really no call on the play. The ball was uncatchable by anybody in the area. It was about 5 yards into the end zone. All the players at about the 5-yard line. So it was really 10 yards overthrown. Ellison double covered on that play, and really good coverage by Hightower and company back there in the secondary.
All right, so Saka now looking at a 2nd and 10 from the 31.
I'll tell you one thing, Saka had all day to throw that football.
Yeah, fake pumped it once. I was hoping Ellison could get up the sideline, but good defense by the Silver Knights. As Steve Grello goes in motion. And Saka looks, throws, has Ellison across the middle, and Ellison is going to be short of the first down, but picks up 9.
Great catch by John Ellison. What hands? It's cold. It's a little windy, not too windy, but it's still very cold. Hard to grab that hard football. And Saka threw that just enough in front of Ellison and was able to get it right in his hand. Ellison make another fine catch. It's 3rd and 1 from the 21.
All right, the Bears break the huddle. From the I, they split out and leave Todd Ogan as the only back behind Tony Saka. Todd Ogan with it. First down, Delran as he comes across the 20-yard line. And they have themselves the football for at least another 4 downs as they'll move the chains.
We're going to mark it officially at the 19-yard line. It's in between the 20 and the...
Here's the handoff. And this handoff goes for about 5 yards. And it was number 28, Todd Ogan. And that's the best run from scrimmage for a back in Delran today.
Sean Thompson in on the stop. Give him 4 yards. Call it 2nd and 6.
2nd down.
For the Bears on the 15-yard line. They're not in any hurry. I think they're going to keep it on the ground here, Gene. Trying to wind that clock down just a little bit more.
All right, and Saka now puts Steve Grello into the slot. And now in motion behind him, and the flags all over delay of game against Delran.
Had to wait for Variety to get done his motion, and, Grello to get done his motion, and by that time the clock had expired. Delran will be backed up 5 more yards, call it 2nd and 10 from the 19. 8 minutes exactly left to go in this 3rd quarter.
And now Saka has Bowman, number 27, out wide to the left, and Ellison to the right. Obvious throwing down for Saka. He rolls to his left and looks that way. Across the middle, he has a man. First down, it looks like Scott Ford, the tight end, who caught some big passes last week against Morristown, has another one here.
Scott Ford tackled and covered by Keith Henson, number 5 in the secondary there. You know, Gina, we have yet really to hear from Kevin Fayette, number 10 on Sterling. As we mentioned before, coming into the game, leading the county with 6 interceptions. Really has yet to do anything defensively for Sterling, and that could be a big key to the success of the Delran passing game.
All right, so the Bears now have it 1st and goal from the 4. Here's Saka with it. Saka in for the touchdown. Tony Saka has his 3rd touchdown rushing here today.
Tell you, it was a great fake up the middle to Ogun. Everybody, including me, thought Ogun had it up the middle. Saka just kept it on his hip, walked around the left side and in for his 3rd touchdown of the afternoon. And Delran's 3rd is 18-0 pending the extra point.
All right, let's see. They'll go for 1 here. As you see, Tony Saka getting congratulations from Coach Jimmy Donahue. And Mike Merritt, a bad snap, and John Saka has it. We saw this work a miracle 2 weeks ago, and he throws for the 2-pointer. John Saka hitting inside. It was Tom Barati, the other back, and the Bears have increased their lead now to 20-0 here. On a roll, my friends.
Great catch by Barati as well. As Saka, we saw that, as you said, did that 2 weeks ago against Kingsway to win the ball game. This time it's only 2 more points, but it's a big one. 20-0 with 7.5 left.
All right, so with 7.5 left to go in quarter number 3. We'll be right back. $20 here in the championship game. Steve, you have the scoring summary for folks at home.
31-yard drive, a 4-yard touchdown run by Tony Saka, the 2-point conversion. Saka to Barati. That's John Saka was good. It's 20-0 with 7:25 left in the 3rd quarter.
Summers still on his feet. Summers up the sideline. What a bull as he goes to the 35-yard line, and he will not die here this afternoon.
Yeah, the PA announcer, Gene, ready to announce where the ball was going to be spotted, and Summers wouldn't let him. He just kept moving and moving, and that's what they tell you to do if you're carrying the football, especially if you're a big guy like Summers. Just keep moving those legs until you're on the ground. You never know what can happen. He almost broke that one because of it.
All right, so now here is a desperate offense. A desperate offense is the Silver Knight squad. Oh, hands off to Sean Thompson. And Thompson gets about a yard if he's lucky.
They're not even going to give him that much. He's lucky if they don't give him a loss. They're going to give him progress back to the original line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10. 6:40 to go in this 3rd quarter. Sterling's got to put the ball in the air, Gene. They're not getting anywhere on the ground. They haven't all afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's time for Gallagher to send them airborne. As you see Jim Gallagher right there in the shorts. He's a brave soul here on this cold December 5th. Here's E.J. Huskin, and Huskin comes across the 35 to about the 38. But they're looking at a 3rd down situation here in long.
Now we'll see if he can go in. Checking into the ball game, Bill Hankins for the line, and checking out is Paul Sims.
.550 to go here in the 3rd quarter. And Hall running out of time along with the Silver Knights. He throws and it's incomplete as he had a man out there.
I'll tell you, Barati's lucky he didn't get called for a pass interference, because out there was the receiver, looked like Kevin Fayette, and Barati kind of pushed him from behind just as the ball got there. Very close to an interference call, but the ball, I guess, was there at the same time as the hit. 4th and 7, and they're going to have to put it up here in the air and give Delran the ball back.
Sims, number 55, the punter. And it's Barati and Ellison standing at their own 35. He's had a problem with snaps all day. Gets a low one there. Barati has the football, looking for some running room. Picks up a block by Shuttleworth and comes inside to about the 39-yard line. Good return by Tom Barati.
Tackle made by Brian Sparacino as Barati and Ellison collided, and Ellison said, all right, you take the ball, Tony, and he took it around the end finally after a good block, as you said, by Shuttleworth, and get about another 10 yards out of it to the 39-yard line. 5:20 to go. Delran 1st and 10, and they will keep on the ground, trying to run out this 3rd quarter with this drive.
All right, Saka there. And they line up in it like a pass formation here. unless they're going fullback, and it is Todd Ogan. Ogan in the secondary, crosses the 50 to the 49. First down for the Bears on Ogan's 12-yard run.
Greg Garris in on the stop, the 6'1", 218-pound senior for Sterling. Gene, I wonder if it means anything. As soon as Ogan went down, after he crossed the line of scrimmage, got a first down, the sun peeked through for just an instant.
All right, 4:50 now on the clock, and the Bears threaten here to blow this one away if they put it in the end zone now. Ogan to the 45-yard line for a pickup of 3. It's on the ground, and Sterling has picked up a fumble at their own 46-yard line.
Certainly looked like it as soon as they came up with the ball. Huskin, along with Mark Summers, pointing the other way. Summers, I believe, the one that came up with the football. Delran fans think Ogan was on the ground, but it didn't look like he ever reached the ground. He was on top of the pile, and next thing you know, Summers has the football. Big break for Sterling as Delran was driving. Now they have it at their own 45-yard line and a chance to bring it downfield.
All right, so the Silver Knights get the break they've been waiting for. And let's see if they capitalize on it. Sean Thompson on a deep pitch. Comes up to about midfield for a pickup of 4.
Give him 5 officially, 2nd and 5. Tackle made by Barnes, along with a couple other players for Delran. Shuttleworth in on there. A lot of players in on every stop for Delran, especially when you're talking about that defensive line, which are doing a fine, fine job this afternoon.
All right, so on the 2nd down and 6. Silver Knights need to score. They're down 20-0. And here's Paul Barton. Barton gets through for a first down as he comes across the Delran 45 to the 43-yard line.
Finally stopped there by John Sack, but not before he got the first down. And now all of a sudden again, Gene, we're seeing the offensive line surge for Sterling and able to get a couple of yards on each play. They're moving, but I just don't think they have enough time to keep it on the ground. 3:25 in the 3rd quarter.
Stranger things have happened. And here they are, and it's Summers to about the 40 before he's hogtied by Steve Groh, 34, and by number 29 of Delran. That is Dutcher.
2nd and 7 for Sterling, and Dan Hall looking to get the play called as Thompson checks out and Daniels checks in the backfield.
All right, so now it's Torsten Daniels, who had over 850 yards coming into this game. Even like a slot, now he'll line up and take it on a counter play from Don Hall, and he picks up 3 yards.
3 or 4. They like to run that play. What happens is you have 3 running backs line up straight across in the backfield, okay? Daniels will be all the way on the left as he'll go in motion just before this ball is snapped. Quarterback Hall will turn to his left. Daniels will be right there to take it up the middle. It's a good play, but they've been working it so often, Delran has become wise to it and really not that effective.
And a problem with Chris Lomax's equipment. That's why we had the brief time out there. But now the Silver Knights looking at it, 3rd down and 5 from the Delran 38-yard line. And Hall wants to throw and comes back and throws incomplete to Torsten Daniels.
Hall hurried the throw, Gene. He had some time. What he wanted to do was fake to the left side, the near side of your screen, and throw to the far side. A good play. What he does that way is freeze the linebackers into thinking he's going to the left side of the field. He did that. When he turned back to the right, though, he hurried his throw. Instead of lining up and trying to find Daniels, he hurried it. He had more time than he thought.
Here's the surprise. They're punting here. I thought they'd go on a 4th and 5 from the Delran 38. But Sims is back to punt. And his kick is a good kick. And Ellison calls for a fair catch inside the 10-yard line, right at the 10-yard line. And the Bears now will have it 1st and 10 from there with exactly 1:58 on the clock here in the 3rd quarter.
I'll agree with you, Gene. I think it was a strange play call, too, but I think he's going to try and give his defense a shot at either coming up with the football or stopping Delran and getting the same kind of field position again. He's really obviously not too concerned with the amount of time left. There's 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. I think with the passing ability of Hall, he thinks they can come back in a hurry.
All right, so now Saka And the offense back on the field. And it's Todd Ogen, and Ogen picks up about 5 to the 15.
In on the stop was Dennis Weaver, number 15 for Sterling. Gain of about 4, call it 2nd and 6.
So now it's a 2nd down and about 5 yards.
2nd down and 5.
And Delran will be happy to keep it on the ground as you look at the line of scrimmage. And Tony Sacken, that big offensive line from the Bears. Grello goes in motion. And Todd Ogen cracks it through and has a 1st down. Nice play by Todd Ogen. And you know, Jimmy Donahue giving Todd Ogen a chance to redeem himself from fumbling up here earlier. Gives it to him twice in a row, and he picks up a 1st down.
Greg Garris in on the stop for Sterling, and Ogen even bounced off Garris a little bit, but Garris able to stay with him and make the stop. 1st down from the 21.
So the Bears doing what they want right now and chewing up the clock. And letting it wind down here. Saka, handoff, Grello, big hole. 1st down and much more as he comes across the 35 to the 37-yard line.
Finally brought down by Sean Thompson. Thompson being used a lot more on the defense now than on the offensive scheme. That time a great big hole, and Delran able to get another big 1st down at the 37-yard line. They're doing what they want to do, Gene, as you said, keeping it on the ground, getting 1st down, and wearing down that clock. Half a minute left in this 3rd quarter.
All right, and Saka still has the offense on the field at the 38, and Grello, yeah, looks like he's grinding it out as he picks up 5.
Grello goes back in that huddle and says, Tony, give it to me again. I want to do it again. Got about 4 on the play. Give him 5, 2nd and 5.
A lot of fire in that brown and white and gold right now. They're up by 20 and they can smell blood.
And that's going to do it for this 3rd quarter with Delran up 20 to nothing.
All right, so with 12 minutes to go, the possible championship for the Delran Bears. It's 20-0. We'll have more in the 4th quarter right after this.
With
12 minutes, possibly, Steve, in the 87 high school football season. It's been a dandy season.
The Silver Knight, excuse me, Gene, the Silver Knight defense has to come up big in this series. They need 3 scores in 12 minutes. Very hard to do against this Delran defense. Harder to do with less than 12 minutes. They need a turnover or at least to stop Delran without getting 1 more 1st down.
Against the defense, which has been the stingiest around, at only allowing 3.9 points a game. And here's Grello. Grello gets outside, now cuts it in, and has a 1st down at the 45-yard line of Sterling.
Mark Summers in on the stop, but not before Grello got a nice gain of about 15 yards. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line of Sterling. That play right there could have been the one to break the Silver Knights back because they need the ball in a hurry. And the Bears are just running down that clock.
He gets a shot right there, Steve Grello, 34, a senior who's been waiting for this for 4 years now. And he goes in motion. And it's Todd Ogen. Ogen with it for about 3 yards.
Ogen goes 6 foot, 180 pounds, one of the bigger players on the Bears squad. They like to give him the ball because he can just plain run over people. And he saw him do that a few times this afternoon, and there's a good example of it too. Call it 2nd and 6.
I'll tell you what, the Bears hang on to win this one. This town's going to go absolutely bonkers.
Well, they already have a parade planned, win or lose. Besides that, a victory is going to spark all kinds of parties tonight.
Saka on the ground to Grello. Grello's lucky to pick up a yard as he was hit by number 76, Chris Revelas.
Revelas, one of the 200-pounders on that line we talked about earlier. Apparently, Delran having no problem with that 213-pound front line of the Sterling Knights.
You know, they have played bigger teams this year, and Jimmy Donahue said one of them was Riverside, who went 0-9 this year, and they manhandled them. The offensive line is so much quicker, and I think that's what we're finding here this afternoon is the quickness out of that Delran offensive line. Socket throws and has his man, number 9, John Ellison, close to a first down. We'll have to see.
Depends on where they spot it. It looks like it's going to be a bit short, or are they going to call that incomplete? They're going to call it incomplete.
They're going to call it incomplete.
Look complete
Much
from
to
our
my
vantage
surprise.
point.
Yeah, unless he juggled it and dropped it on the ground, we couldn't see it. But I think, you know, you're looking at a first here today. That's Delran's first punt coming up here on 4th and 5 with 10 minutes and 11 seconds to go in the ballgame.
And they have to call timeout because they're so unaccustomed to punting today. They have to call timeout to get the right people out there.
All right, 10 minutes, 11 seconds to go in this one to score. The Bears 20, Sterling Knights nothing. We'll be back right after this.
Are you ready for the hot alternative? Cherry Hill Nissan Leasing fulfilled.
Dropping number 10, Kevin Fayette, all the way back at his 5. He breaks through the first wall and finally is free. Oh, what a collision at about the 25-yard line between, it looked like Ford, number 44, the punter.
It was Saka, Gene. Tony Saka in on the stop, giving it his all. Fayette going off, holding his head, but he's okay. But Saka's still down on the ground, very slow getting up. He's kneeling now. But what a collision. As you saw Saka just fly into your picture and knock down Fayette. Fayette slow in getting up, Saka even slower.
Oh, man, that's one for the highlight film, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but Jimmy Donahue doesn't care about that. He wants his quarterback up and ready, and there he is. He's up. He may not be ready, but he's up anyway.
All right, Tony Saka comes off on his own power, and maybe, just maybe, that might be the last time we see him. Who knows?
I doubt it. He's under his own power. I think he's just got a couple of cobwebs he's got to shake off there. You see him there.
He looks all right from here. And they'll come over and sit down for a little bit. And John Saka now in his spot in the secondary, along with Moore. And Don Hall rolls and is trapped behind the line of scrimmage. And it looked like big number 83, Pat Shuttleworth, who was in on a tackle.
What a play by Shuttleworth. He's been doing it all day. That time he just stayed with Hall, just kind of kneeled down in front of him. And Hall had nowhere to go, just tried to run over him and couldn't. 9.5 to go, 20-0. Hall's going to have to put the ball up and soon. It's 2nd and 11.
All right, from the 24. And Tom Verratti for Delran, looking right in the face. Here's the long throw, and it's picked up by John Ellison, number 9. And Hall went upstairs and found that the door wasn't open.
Looking for Stacy Hightower on the pass, double teamed by Ellison and Verratti. Ellison came down with the football, as we talked about his receiving. Same thing works with his defending. If it's in the area, Ellison's going to be the one coming down with the football. That time it was Ellison, first down from their own 45, and Tony Saka is in there at quarterback.
What a competitor. He's back on there, as he told Jimmy Donahue, I'm not sitting any plays in this one.
I'm finishing this one, Coach. I got months and months to rest.
8:50 on the clock in the 4th and final quarter here today. Todd Ogan rushes, he dropped the football, and I think Sterling came up with it. Let's see if they say he was down, though.
They're ruling in Sterling's football, at least this side judge is. And that's going to be the call. It looked from here he was down, but a big turnover again by Ogan, the second one we've seen him make. And now Sterling has the football back and in better field position than they were before at the 43 of Delran. Excuse me, 47 of Delran. So now Hall can go back to the air with 8.5 to go. His hopes are alive once more.
All right, now the Bears on defense again. It's been dynamic up to this point. Hall on the ground. It's Summers. Summers still on his feet. Crosses the 45 to the 44 for a pickup of 4.
Tackle there by Barnes. Barnes has been all over the field, especially on the run this afternoon. 8:05 to go. And looks like Summers is down, so the officials call a timeout to check out the injury.
Yeah, Summers has played a super ball game for Sterling here. He's really been the workhorse of this squad this afternoon with 12 carries for about 50 yards. But they've been 50 tough yards here today.
4 and 5 and 6 at a time. Really no big gainers for Sterling today on the ground.
So Summers on the ground. He'll get up in just a minute. We'll be back in just a minute. We have 8:06 to go in this fourth and final quarter. It's 20-0 Delran. In high school, second down and about 7. And here's a reverse to Paul Barton, and Delran is there, and there's going to be a loss on the play. As the defense has just played out of this world this afternoon.
Steve Grello in on the stop. Now that was really a miscue by Sterling. They weren't sure if they were handing the ball back off or not. They did, but it was much, much too close to the line of scrimmage and really went nowhere fast. Grello in on the stop. It's 3rd and 8.
Down to 7.5 minutes to go. As Torsten Daniels in motion, and Hall will throw. He looks, it's almost intercepted by Tony Sacca, number 19. And Hall now faced with a 4th down.
I think Paul Barton was the intended receiver, but it's hard to tell because it was closer to Sacca than anyone else. Sacca was really the only one in the area, and he's a Delran Bear. You don't want to throw it to him. 4th and 8, and obviously Sterling will go for it here. 7:21 to go in this ball game. If they don't make it here, Gene, you can count this one over.
Just about. 7:21 on the clock, and Jim Gallagher continues to try to pump up his boys. As Don Hall drops, looks, way downfield, has a man, and a great play by Verratti to knock it down out of the hands of Stacy Hightower.
Hey, Verratti, if he didn't deflect the ball, did just as good. He waved his arm in the face. We have a flag on the play, so let's wait and see what happens with this flag. It's going to be against Delran, so the Sterling Silver Knights will get another shot at it. A great defensive play by Verratti, just waving his hand in the front of Hightower, so Hightower couldn't see the ball as it got there.
All right, let's see what the penalty officially is, though. The flag is dropped at the 45 of Delran.
Marking it off. It's a 10-yarder.
Or a 15-yarder.
Or a 15-yarder, make that. Down to the 31-yard line of Delran. Some kind of personal foul, I would guess. That's what it is, personal foul against Delran. First down for Sterling, a big break. They're at the 31 with 7:16 remaining.
There's still a shot on this cold December day. The Bears looking to hold it here. Hall drops, throws, up in the air, intercepted. Was it John Sacca? It might have been John Sacca that time. It was thrown to his side of the field, and it looks like the brown and the gold have come up with the football.
Give credit for that interception to McDonald and Shuttleworth. They put a whole lot of pressure on Hall, and Hall had no choice but to just try and get rid of the ball. It was a butterfly pass. Sacca came down with it easy, but Shuttleworth and McDonald really doing the job on the defensive line for Delran, getting in there, putting a whole lot of pressure on Hall. He had to hurry to throw and threw it right to Sacca.
All right, but the Bears have to be careful here. It's on their own 7. 1st and 10. 6:54 to go. Grello comes in motion. Sacca takes it straight up the gut on the quarterback sneak, and he might have a first down.
That play is designed to get about 2 yards tops. Sacca breaks it for 8. It's 2nd and 2 from, it looks like, the 18-yard line. Make it the 15.
No, they're going to mark it first down. As Sacca picked up the first down.
Well, they're going to measure anyway.
He's that close. Stretch those chains, but it will be a first down for the Bears. And the Bears have picked up 7 first downs in the second half alone. So Jimmy Dunue went in that halftime with a 12-point lead and said, let's hold the ball and play Sterling's game in the second half, and they have done that.
They certainly have. 6.5 minutes remaining, and now an official's timeout as the markers on the far sideline not quite set. Now they're ready. They'll just try it over again.
All right, we're at 6.5, and she's running down and running out on Sterling right now. Sackett on the ground to Grello. Steve Grello, straight up the middle, picks up about 4.
They're going to try and keep it on the ground. Sterling's going to have to start thinking about using their timeouts. They have 3 remaining, 6 minutes to go in their season. And it looks more and more as we get later into the day that Delran will be celebrating a championship tonight.
And a huge crowd here at Delran, packed along the fence to watch this one. And the Sterling side is well represented as they are full across the way. Sackett to Grello on the ground. The blocking's there. Grello steps across the 30 to the 32 for another first down.
Tackle made by Chris Raveles for Sterling. Another first down with 5:33 to go as the clock stops on the first down. Now it starts up again.
And the
You hear the
Bears.
Delran crowd trying to get something going in the stands, trying to warm up a little bit. They've had plenty to cheer about, though, today.
Yep. It's going to be one heck of a party here as the clock winds down with 5 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the 87 season. Sackett, oh, there's a miscue there. He'll keep it and just eat it.
The first time Sackett's run the ball for negative yardage, and how many times can you say that about a quarterback?
Yeah, and it's his 8th carry on the day. And he just loses about a yard.
2nd and 11 from the 30.
And here we go. In front of us, we have a banner that says Delran State. There's the banner there, kind of getting unfurled in the wind. But the Bears now look at a 2nd down and 11 from the 30-yard line with 4.5 minutes to go. It'll be the longest 4.5 minutes the Bears ever want to go through. It's Grello straight up the gut. And Grello gets back about 6 yards.
Tackled on the play by Greg Garris, again for Sterling. Garris is able to trip him up. Called a 3rd and 5 for Delran right here. Be a good time for a timeout, I think, by Jim Gallagher on the Sterling side of the field.
Steve Grello at halftime only had 1 yard on 1 carry. Has rushed it 8 more times and has picked up over 50 yards. So that has been a big factor here in this second half. And now a flag. And we'll see
Maybe
what the
too much
flag's all
time.
about.
I didn't see any movement.
Unless
See what the
somebody
side
lined up
judge saw.
offside. But I think this one's going against the brown and the gold.
It is. It's a 10-yarder. 15-yarder make it. Down to the 21-yard line.
3:47 to go. And the Bears don't want to make mistakes like this now.
I
Not
think-
right now.
I think the call, Gene, was unsportsmanlike conduct on Jimmy Donahue on the sideline. He must have been giving the officials an earful.
Well, at any rate, that earful cost him 15 yards.
Yeah, but it gave him another 15 seconds off the clock.
Yeah. And Grello with it on 3rd down. Only picks up about 2.
Dennis Weaver in on the stop for Sterling. And that's going to make Delran punt with 3:15 to go. Not enough time, I don't believe, for Sterling to come back in this one.
Scott Ford trots onto the field, number 44. His first punt went for 32 yards. And remember, it was a dandy return by Kevin Fayette, who was hammered by Saka in what might be the collision of the year. Ford's kick is a high kick, twisting. Fayette has it at midfield, and it's brought down at the Delran 44 by number 6. That is Leif Laffman, the senior, and I'm sure he got great joy out of making that tackle.
Yeah, and he's getting congratulated by his teammates on the field. Laffman, a 6 foot, 180-pound senior, playing his last game for the Bears.
And Principal Colonel David Lamborn up here announcing the parade, which will happen an hour after the football game. And he announced it as a victorious parade, and I don't think he's wrong with 2:23 left. His club in the lead by 20. And here's Thompson trying to put a damper on that and carries it for 8 yards.
Tackle made by Tony Sacca. He made the last hit on Thompson. Thompson with a good gain of 6. Call it 2nd and 4. 2:02 to go in this one, and Delran on the sideline counting the seconds.
You know, the Sterling Knights have had the field position here in the second half, but just have not been able to do anything with it. Here's Summers, 32, and he cracks through the 35 for a first down and brings it to the 31.
Stops the clock momentarily anyway with 1:46 left. Then at the 32-yard line of Delran trying to get in the scoreboard. At least get some points on the board in this one. Delran fans cheering for a shutout, though.
All right, let's see if they get it. Of course, if they get a shutout, that is yet another record that they will establish this year as the pass goes incomplete.
Pass falls incomplete. Hightower there. You know, I'm questioning a little bit Jimmy Gallagher's game plan here, keeping it on the ground so much, but from what I've seen Hill do throwing the football, you really can't be too surprised. Hill has not been effective whatsoever in the air. Excuse me, Hall.
All right, so they're looking at 2nd down and 10 from the 32. And the Bears look like they're going to growl their way to this Group 2 championship in 1987. Back to pass is Hall. There's a flag down, the incompletion to Greg Garris, number 84, as it rode right through his hands.
We may have a holding against Sterling as there's an awful lot of pressure in on Hall at the time. That's what it's going to be. Holding Sterling, bring up a 2nd and 15.
So the Delran Bears have a choice here. They want to force 3rd down or move them back, and they'll move them back.
They'll move him back. It'll be 2nd and 20. From the just about midfield, maybe they call it the 45-yard line.
I'll tell you something, this crowd is getting ecstatic right now as they can smell it. With 1:19 to go, we might have a flood of fans on the field after this one.
Nothing to stop him.
Hall drops back, looks, fires downfield, and it's intercepted. Intercepted, looks like number 27, Bowman, who is back there for the INT.
Gene, another senior. Bowman, 5'9", 150 pounds, a senior catching an interception.